So, hi, my name is Kristen Wynn, and my partner is Dustin Fan for the water utility project. And starting off with our code, we're going to be importing the math, which will later be used. And first, we're going to prompt our customer or prompt you to enter your customer code, starting meter, and end meter.
With these values, we're first going to determine whether or not you inputted the right customer code, and if the meter numbers are between 0 and all the nines. So if none of these values are right, or any one of these values are not right, we're going to output this error message. Otherwise, the code inside the if statement should be working. First thing we're going to be doing is determining the amount of gallons of water that's used based on the start and end meters. If the start meter is less than the end meter, all we have to do is subtract the end meter with the start meter and divide by 10. Otherwise, we're going to have to. Otherwise, the meters loop around and we have to determine it the harder way, which is basically subtracting 1 billion with the start meter and then adding whatever that number is with the end meter and dividing by 10. And that should give the gallon.
And then after that, we're going to use the customer codes that are given, and we're going to determine the price of the water bill based on the customer code. So starting off, we have lowercase and capital R, which represent residential. So the cost for residential should be $5 plus 0.0005 cents per gallon. And after that, that's the price for residential utility bill. And then we're going to move on to lowercase and capital C, which is for commercial. With commercial code, we're going to be prompted with whether or not the gallon used are less than 4 million. And if it is less than 4 million, the price will be $1,000 exact. Otherwise, there's going to be an excess, which is however many gallons were used, subtracted by 4 million. And to determine the price, we're going to add 1,000 to 0.00025 of whatever the excess was. And if it wasn't C either, then we're going to move on to I, lowercase and capital, which stands for industrial. And similar to commercial code, then we're going to be testing whether or not the gallons used were greater than 4 million, less than 4 million, or other. So if it is less than 4 million, the price will be a flat 1,000. If it's greater than or equal to 10 million, it's going to be equal to 2,000. Otherwise, it's going to be 2,000 minus 10 million.
You made an error. It's supposed to be less than between 4 million and 10 million for the second elif statement, not greater than this.
Yeah, I read that wrong. We can keep that though. It's hard to keep everything in track. And for the else, that is if it surpasses 10 million, which will be the 2,000 flat plus the excess times 0.00025.
In order to prevent there from being half a cent or something like that, we're going to round up whatever price we're left with. So first we're going to do is multiply the price by 10,000, use a ceiling function to round up the numbers, which is why we had to import math in the first place, and then divide it back by 1,000, which should have the cent be rounded up.
And after we get all the rounding for proper formatting, we're going to end up printing a new line, and then it's going to print out the initial customer code, the initial beginning meter reading, which is formatted so that it will show all the zeros beforehand if you decide to put, if you decide to put just 5, for example. And the same will be for the end meter. And then we're going to print out the gallons of water used and the amount billed, which will be formatted so that it shows the price, but only shows 2 decimal points afterwards.
Alright, now that we've gotten a general overview of our code, it's time to run it. So give me a customer code.
Customer code C.
What about starting meter?
That's a big number. 8 nines and a 7.
This looks right enough. And your end meter.
5.
All right. As correctly predicted, about 0.8 gallons of water is used and $1,000 is billed as a result. Now let's run this code again, but this time we add an error.
So for the customer code, let's put like T.
All right. And then shall we use the same values?
Yeah, just use the same values.
As you can see, it says invalid entry and gives out the no gallons of water used and no price. This is it regarding our project. Thank you for listening to this video explaining our code, and I hope you have a nice day. Goodbye.